All right, welcome back to the journey to become a TechnoWizard. Today's gonna be maybe a little boring. I don't know, probably. But I just wanted to kind of practice showing you my screen as I actually work rather than talking. So as I mentioned in the last couple episodes, in this phase we're gonna be working with the real client in my design course, and so it's I'm looking forward to it. We did a workshop activity last night with our instructor, who kind of walked us through creating a kickoff meeting and choosing the correct or a good workshop based on like what we think we need to learn from the client. And so today I'm just really finishing up that draft. We're already, it's basically already done, but I'm gonna finish it up. So that's why it's probably gonna be a little boring. It's nothing like, it's not like designing a whole some screens and stuff like that. But it's good practice to see how this turns out. And without further ado, allow me to share my screen. Boom, bam. Here we go. All right. So here's our kickoff meeting. One of my group mates, he has a really nice touch with like the aesthetics and stuff like that. So, touched it up with our signature kind of look and feel, made it look real good. Let me see if yeah, this is the first version we did last night. So, typical little document, but he made it look a little better. Um, so in this client that we're working with, they are building or they want a sort of community app, community web app to help their community members kind of come together, right? They um, feature no, not feature. They service. I don't know why I used the term feature. They service like LGBTQT. Uh, I don't know if I said all those. Very sorry if I didn't. But they service that community centered around Austin. They call it the Austin Outpost, and their business is called QWELL, or really a nonprofit instead of nonprofit called QWELL. And that's what we have to clear up tonight, like how these two things come together. But yeah, it sounds like their business is called QWELL, but they also have like a website or a portion of the QWELL kind of sphere called the Austin Outpost. Because they're centered in Austin. Austin is apparently the third largest LGBTQT community. Um, and so they basically want to build some sort of community forum or some sort of community web app where people can come together and just communicate with each other, but kind of not just like a forum, but as a um, they essentially want to connect businesses with people in the LGBTQ community to do like initiatives. So if they want to do a coat drive, if they want to do a food drive or whatever, they can partner with a business who is interested in helping them, and they can get all that done through this web app. So that seems like what like the project brief is around. And so in our kickoff meeting, we're going to be talking to the client tonight, and figuring out more details to it. So last night, my group came up with like some questions that we're going to ask them to get down to it, and then we're going to use a workshop activity called Proto Personas. And Proto Personas is essentially a way to understand their users, or a better term for users, the customers, the community members, and that's super important as a UX designer, because we are is this UX designers, user experience designer. The whole point of that is being an advocate for the user, for the person who's going to be using these apps, for the actual human, behind um, what behind the product, the customer. And it's interesting when you think about it. Like, we all use these apps every single day. We use websites, this, that, and the other, but not everybody has like a UX design team, and it's not always the focus of their team, even when they do have it. So that's quite unfortunate. But when you think about it, this is a very important, job, because if you don't have anybody really advocating for the user and their experience throughout the app, that's that's how you have so many kind of websites and apps and just products out there that's just crap to use. That's just boring. That's unexciting. That's even frustrating and annoying and painful to use because they're too busy thinking about the technical aspects. They're too busy thinking about the business aspects, and nobody's out there actually championing for the customer, for the user. You know, so that's why this is super important. And so that's why we chose to do this activity as our first activity with this client. And they seem to be very passionate about their clients. I mean, the client seems very passionate about the community. So I'm going to go to their website. Spelled that completely wrong. Well, not completely, but oh my gosh. There we go. It's QWELL.org. I don't know. That's what confused me. I was doing some research the other day. It just popped up. Go Austin. Yeah. So yeah, as this loads up, but basically, so we want to make sure we're understanding the users, the community members of QWELL Austin, the Austin Outpost. So we're going to be asking, you know, the client, um, just give us some background about their ideal users. You know, we want to know their their demographics, which is like, you know, age, um, career, or better term, profession, um, and background. Look at that. This is why it's good to talk about this stuff because I didn't want to look at the sheet. I want to make sure I know this stuff in my brain, you know. So for demographics, we want to know age, their profession, their income, their if they're in like the relationships very often, what type of relationships, you know, um, and their access to technology, their comfort level with technology. We want to know, you know, store more background information like that as well. We want to know, furthermore, their pain points, their frustrations, their needs, and their goals. So that means we want to understand, you know, in their current everyday life, how do they interact with, you know, a product like Quell? You know, what is their current satisfaction level with, you know, you using this website or using any other websites to meet their needs? You know, what are their needs? You know, do they have current ways of meeting those needs? And even if it's not strictly digital, it doesn't have to be. It could be, you know, meet space, you know, kind of real life problems or things that they have. We want to know that, and so that will help us understand, you know, how to go about ideating and thinking about the problem so that we can really come up with some possible solutions to explore. Because when you understand what somebody is going through in their everyday life, you can truly empathize with them. And when you empathize with them, you can build a solution specifically for them, not based on your assumptions, not based on your I don't know, your needs or your interests, your monetary interests or whatever. No, based on exactly what that user needs, what that person, what that human, you know, needs. So yeah, that's why it's super important to go over all these details and talk about it with the client. So as you can see here, they already have a website set up. So this won't be like building from scratch or anything like that. So yeah, I went over this before, just looking at anything else I missed. This is interesting too. So we were looking at, you know, we also wanted to understand their business, the businesses that this community wants to interact with, because something that they mentioned in the project brief a lot was one of their chief goals is being able to interact with or rather um, connect businesses with community members who want to do an initiative. You know, so like I said that earlier, if you want to do, you know, if they want to do a food drive, coat drive, whatever, you know, they maybe need a business to sponsor them or to, you know, for the location, for the money, for resources, whatever, so that it seems like they want to connect those businesses with those, people. So we want to understand what businesses are those? Are those small businesses? Are they corporate businesses? Are they in a specific industry? Are they tech, or are they automotive, or what type of businesses are they? So that's the type of thing we want to hone down on, because again, once you really understand the people who are going to be using the product, then you can actually build a realistic solution for them. So yeah, very cool website. Kind of artistic, colorful. It's gonna be fun to build around this kind of palette, this kind of feeling. I'm not too much. I don't know too much about the aesthetics from UI standpoint, but I'm just thinking about this from the perspective of, okay, of what the client is expecting, as we go through this project. So already we know that they're probably going to be expecting something very, colorful, very friendly. Um, they have very clear call to actions, but it's also a lot of information. So they're probably not going to be afraid to, dive into a lot of information type things. But yeah, there's a lot going on here. So we're gonna probably have to think about, what to include, what not to include, so on and so forth. And you made an intro email, nice. So yeah, it's looking pretty good. So essentially, I wanted to finish up this part here. We basically copied that over from what we were talking about last night, but I want to go into further kind of details here. So um, it's good for us to put down these steps so that when we go through, because we're gonna of course do a couple of practice uh practice examples and stuff like that. So um gonna have some time to really flesh out what we're gonna say, but I want to kind of call out some important factors here, because you don't want to just come up with this at the top of your head while you're there, whether in practice or not. You want to have some clear ideas of what you're actually going to be talking about. So says here, we're going to explain the purpose of the proto persona exercise and what information we're seeking to gain through our clients' participation. So something I found in my experience, just doing presentations and slide decks and all this other stuff and all my other jobs, is that you never really want to have a script, like a straight up script, you know, at least not for me. And a lot of presenters feel the same, because when you have a specific script word for word, you're going to be like reading off of it, right? You want speaking points. You want to know your content enough that all you have to do is kind of glance at a speaking point to know, okay, cover that, and you just go off on it. That makes the presentation more organic, more fluid. That makes it easier to really convey the type of information that you want while connecting with that audience. So if it's kind of like a user experience project in and of itself, just speaking with people in the presentation style, because reading from a script, just reading off of a script, is kind of like, building an app without talking to your users. But when you have just pain points and you're looking at your audience as you're speaking, or even before then, you're researching who you're going to be speaking to, then it's like you're putting that user experience into your presentation, because then you're thinking about the user, you're thinking about the people who are going to be receiving your content. um, so yeah, that's why it's important to not just do a script. So what we did here is just, explaining kind of the things we're going to be talking about. But I want to go a little bit more detail, so that again, it's not off the cuff. So we got proto persona. Um, well, so I'd rather get the actual definition. We have the thing here. I can always reword things afterwards, but I like to look at the definition of things first, and really understand it, and then kind of reword it in my own. If I kind of just come up with a thing on my own with a rough idea, I may know the content, but almost always better to research it again. Look at the official recommendations. I mean, the official definitions, to make sure you're not misunderstanding something, or something like that. So this is pretty much a good definition right here. Helps define what the business currently knows about users while also allowing us to gain an understanding of the client, the project, and the needs of the users. So that's basically what I was thinking, but I want to see if I can find some other better ones. So our client is a marketing was had a have a, has a kind of marketing background. So I'm pretty sure they might know the basics of a persona. But we can probably talk about this during the presentation as well. Yeah, so I'll just stick with that then. Yeah, I'll stick with that. All right. I like to use that Oxford comma, I think is what it's called. I was going to script, format saying exactly what I was going to say, but just give a detail here. So because we know they want to make this, a community center for the actual LGBTQ community, we know that that's going to be one major persona they want to build. So that's going to be like your person um, going through uh, the kind of like the whole process of interacting with this product, with QWELL, with Austin Outpost, and so on. We know that's going to be one person, and then the other is going to be the business, which is like, again, we don't know what type of business it is, but we know they want to partner with some type of businesses to help them do, those initiatives. So that's why you have those two separate ones here. We can kind of define them a little bit. think that's a good little details right there. So that way it's going to be very easy to kind of, just talk to these specific areas while we're doing the presentation. Let's put some space in here. Sheesh. Oops. There you go. It's a little bit better. Yeah, this is a pretty good list here. All right, boom, bam. That wasn't hard, right, y'all? That wasn't too boring, I hope. Yeah. Um, it's not super exciting going over documents, in the video like this, but this is a good little experiment. See how this feels. Kind of feel awkward just sitting here, not talking. People may or may not be watching that part, but it's whatever. Definitely in the future for other videos. Um, Probably going to only do like a kind of a showing how I work. If it's something that you can kind of see me going through the process, learning process. So definitely like when I'm sketching things, I think that would be fun to go through. Um, I mean, I don't know. Going through the document, I think was pretty interesting. It allowed me to really talk about how I was thinking about things, which helped me to kind of get better at describing things, get better at understanding these concepts. Because the best way to learn is try to teach somebody else. So yeah, I think it was still interesting in that regard. So whoever's watching this, let me know if you think this was a cool like video, or if you would prefer to me just like what I did before, just be talking about stuff, or if you only want to see like me working on things, if it's something that's um, like more exciting, basically. So working on like doing in an actual um, design. She, sorry, I'm outside. There's freaking bugs and stuff. Yeah, if it maybe it might be more exciting when I'm working in something like Sketch or Figma or something like that. But then again, those aren't necessarily exciting. It just might be different for most people. Most people have worked in a document though, so it's probably not exciting for anybody, even if I am talking about it. So I don't know. Let me know what you think. But otherwise than that, thanks again. It was fun. And yes, it was a little bit, I did procrastinate a little bit, you know, getting energy up and coming back out and shooting another video. It's weird. I know I enjoy these videos, but like my energy level has just been like not where I know it has to be. And last night I did some good workouts with my brother, and we were dancing and stuff like that too. So, you know, probably gonna get back to, that energy level if I, keep on being consistent. But right now, like even now, I feel tired. You see my bags, but I don't know. It's just something to deal with. The difficulties. I don't know if it's the quarantine. How I deal with stress or whatnot. But I have been a little bit lethargic. So just want to get back to it. And these videos have been good to kind of push me out there and make sure I'm still being consistent in my learning and going through this course and staying on the ball with that. So it's been cool to do that. But I don't know. I think it's important to talk about these kind of vulnerabilities because you know it's hard sometimes. Um, Sometimes you don't feel like getting out of bed. Sometimes you feel like just lazing around all day. But majority of the time, maybe 99.9% of the time, you know, it's good for you to get out and do something, you know, be productive, work in that project, just work on the exercise, you know, take a walk, something, you know, get your body moving, get your mind moving beyond just kind of passive uh, entertainment or passive leisure, because you know that's how we operate. We like to move. We like to get moving on things, and you may not even realize how much you can be doing and how much you enjoy actually doing it until you do it. So hope that gets you motivated to get moving. Motivates me. So thanks again. See y'all.